Answered in kind. 93. The Dissolution of Walls. There is only one thing I condone without hesitation, without trembling, without fear of being misunderstood. Thinking for yourself and listening to the whisper within your own heart. For if your own heart is not the compass, then whose heart shall you borrow? And how long before that borrowed compass points you into a dim corridor in which you cannot see your own hands? Some people hold no empathy whatsoever for those caught in the snare of addiction. They say with a chilling and unexamined certainty, you did this to yourself. But if you lead a person into a shadowed hall, give them no map, no lantern, no education, and then abandon them, what exactly do you expect them to do? Condemnation masquerades as wisdom. Judgment masquerades as courage, but neither provides light. We all walk with varying degrees of knowledge. We all inherit the mistakes of those who taught us, and sometimes the one who stumbles was taught by someone who was missing half the essential curriculum for being human. As far as I have examined, there is no such thing as a recreational drug. The phrase itself is a linguistic sleight of hand, a conceptual cul-de-sac. And what are labels, really, but walls? We erect them precisely so we don't have to see what lies beyond the boundary of our understanding. A label is not a lantern, it is mortar. It is the architecture of avoidance. Why do people turn to substances? Why does the hand reach for that which it knows may sting? Not because they seek pleasure, not really, but because something inside has gone unexamined for so long that it has congealed into a fog, a miasma clouding the inner eye. They are not reaching for intoxication, they are reaching for a door. They are searching for an aperture in their own interior atmosphere. They are running from a storm they never learned to decipher. And yet, we dare to say to them, "You're an addict," as if the mere utterance of a stigmatizing epithet could substitute for teaching, as if shame had ever functioned as medicine. Shame constricts, shame collapses, shame breeds repression, secrecy, inner civil war. Shame devours the conscientious while the brazen remain unscathed by it entirely. And then we wonder why those who feel the most deeply suffer the most profoundly. We teach shame as if it were a moral disinfectant, but shame is the poison and the wound in one. Some, in their insecurity, poke and diminish others so they may feel tall. They perform elaborate contortions to avoid appearing humble, terrified that humility invites ridicule or punishment. But since when did punishment ever produce healing? Since when has a clenched jaw been the herald of peace? A closed hand cannot receive. The arm of control never nurtured a single soul. And if we have not the capacity for humility, we will inevitably seal ourselves in yet another dim corridor of our own construction. Shall we then say to ourselves, "You did it to yourself"? The best thing any of us can do is offer knowledge, not advice steeped in self-righteousness, not directives barked from a pulpit of fear, but knowledge, gently, lucidly, because judgment is always a mask for fear, and projection is always the confession of what one has not dared to examine within. When we are irritated with another person, it is never about them. Irritation is the echo of something within ourselves that strains to be acknowledged. But we do not teach this, do we? We teach the inverse. We teach the comfortable illusions of neat and tidy categories. We cling to labels as if they could anchor the ocean. You are not tasked with striving for love. You are tasked, if anything, to find and dissolve the walls that occlude what is already present. Many cannot even look into their own eyes in the mirror and say, "I love you." And if you cannot give the love in your own heart to yourself, then the walls ahead are numerous and the work is great. But blame yourself not. You were taught guilt, shame, fear, and suspicion of your own worth. Those lessons were flawed when you received them, and they have not aged well. The people we think should feel shame often do not. So by what imagined authority do we demand they feel it? What moral tribunal do we invoke? The simple truth stands. No matter how many people you meet in this life, you will always eventually encounter someone you never fathomed could exist. And every plunge back into condemnation only erects 12 more walls, spinning you in an ever-tightening gyre, convincing you that judgment will rectify the world even as you tremble at how imperfect you perceive it to be. We tell ourselves secrecy is normal. We excuse eruptions of emotional pressure as human nature. Yet, when someone meets what they call the love of their life and still feels compelled to hide themselves, this is no triviality. It is a volcanic fissure beneath the surface. Without emotional intelligence, without self-mastery and self-reflection, that fissure widens until the dam bursts, and in that rupture lies the birthplace of what we flatly label as addiction. Again, such a flat label, such a convenient obliteration of nuance. Some taste these substances not for pleasure, but for escape, for a momentary reprieve from the storm inside that no one ever taught them to navigate. Had they been taught how to hone their interior atmosphere, to tend their inner climate with clarity and sovereignty, many would never have even touched the thing. Curiosity is harmless. Fervor is perilous. If you sprint toward something, you are sprinting away from something. And whatever you flee becomes the wind at your back, pushing you faster, harder, deeper into the labyrinth, all the while you remain unaware of your direction. Momentum builds, and once a person spins with enough velocity in that inner loop, You cannot simply step in front of them. They will blow you down. The best you can do is offer knowledge with gentleness, not seizure, not control, not the mechanical arm of force. Human history has already demonstrated the futility of coercion. When you wrench someone's freedom away, they do not thank you for it. How do you make someone obsess over something? Tell them endlessly that they absolutely cannot have it, and then fail to explain with genuine clarity why. You will know you have explained something properly when the other walks away understanding, not obeying. You were told you must save yourself. Why? Not because the world is cruel, but because your interior world is yours alone. No one sees it but you. You barely see it yourself. You feel it. And we do not talk about these things. We say, your opinion doesn't matter. But this is a fallacy. Your thoughts matter because if you do not look at them, they will rule you. Many are terrified to examine their own interior atmosphere. They run from it, though they carry it everywhere they go. But that trembling you feel is not doom. It is the pressure of a wall about to crumble under the weight of your expanding truth. Illusions cannot withstand the light for long. If you fear something dissolving, it is because there is a deeper truth you have yet to see. Truth requires no fear. Fear is simply the amygdala, that tiny almond-shaped sentinel, whispering of possibilities. It is a butler knocking on the door of your attention. Sir, something is occurring in the courtyard. And you may reply, let me see for myself. Fear is a signal, not a sovereign. If you hand the reins of your dominion to that almond-shaped servant, if you enthrone it as ruler, you will spin in circles until your entire psyche becomes overworked, overwhelmed, overburdened, and you will run frantically in search of a door out of your own chaos. But doors only appear when walls dissolve. When those walls finally shatter and the raw light hits your skin, you may feel naked. Some mistake the warmth for cold and immediately build a new wall. And so the maze begins again, sprinting through corridors with eyes wide shut, believing speed to be salvation. But there never was a race. People who crave approval, validation, recognition, they chase a phantom finish line. People who cling to toughness mistake their armor for their identity. But armor eventually cracks. Masks eventually slip. And when that mask shatters upon the floor of the heart, you learn the only thing you truly have is what you love. Everything else melts away like a sandcastle returning to the sea, the ocean of life whispering tenderly, it is time to wake up. Take everything with a grain of salt, I say. Question everything. And if something does not like your questions, indeed, it is hiding something. But don't forget to ask why you even care to wonder. Don't drop your grain of salt. You need that so you can think for yourself. Everyone loves to fling their grain of salt into the surf and sprint toward the waves before they learn how to swim. They cry out that they are being taken away with the current, not knowing they are the ocean. There is gold buried within your insecurity. Who taught you to run from gold? They were wrong. But who taught them to believe what they believed? And who taught the one who taught them? And who, then, will grow up first? A good example can heal a lineage. The absence of one can cripple it for generations. How good of an example can you be if instead of empathy you nurse bitterness toward those we label addicts? If you care so little as to withhold knowledge from someone seeking a way through their fog? This is the paradox. When someone is caught in a loop, they may ask for help. They may think they know what they need. You may think you know best. But you cannot guide another into peace through clenched teeth. We claim to teach discipline, but what we mostly teach is compliance through fear. But fear is a poor master. It is not the tyrant we imagine. It is a nervous butler attempting to be helpful. If you yield your sovereignty to fear, you will run in circles until eruption is inevitable. And when the eruption comes, if you have not cultivated the arts of emotional intelligence, self-reflection, inner correction, you will not know what to do. You will tremble, and in that trembling, you may reach for anything to soothe the chaos. And thus, the cycle repeats. Take heed, take heart, wield the scepter of your dominion. Illuminate the dim corridors with the gaze of awareness. Because the monster you fear in that corridor is not a monster. It is a misunderstood fragment of you waiting to be seen. And when you wall yourself off so completely that only one choice remains, that remaining choice will be the dissolution of the wall by the eternal flame of your own being. For nothing built of illusion can withstand the fire of the truth you carry. And no label, no shame, no condemnation can survive the radiance of a human being who has learned to see themselves, to know themselves, and to love themselves without fear. Praise love and pass the compassion.